Hey everybody, I'm a brand new YouTuber, brand new, and I was inspired to start my channel because I want to combat and fight misinformation. So I don't have a channel name yet, but I'll come up with something real clever. But for the time being, I wanted to do my first video. I know it'll be real popular with the algorithm. And I want to talk about how you can spot fake news, how you could spot it and identify it. Then we can tell everybody, and they could tell a friend, and they could tell a friend. Then we could stop fake news from happening. Because obviously the only real news is whatever we see on CNN, Fox, NBC, whatever's on the television is real, okay? Whatever opinion anyone else has is fake. So here's how to spot fake news. Ready? Consider the source. Click away from the story to investigate the site, its mission, and its contact info. So dox the person probably is the first step, right? Find their contact info. Investigate the site, right? So if it's something that you disagree with, of course, like for me personal, as somebody who is a part of the LGBTQ+, somebody who identifies as a fire hydrant, sometimes as a fire hose. So the first thing that I would do is find anyone who's Christian, and I would say that that's fake news, right? I'd find anybody who doesn't support me and me and me and me way of life. I would, of course, report them as fake news. So I will consider the source. If you agree with me, you're a good source. If you don't, you're fake news. Okay, next up, read beyond. Headlines can be outrageous in an effort to get clicks. What's the whole story? Kind of like the headline for this video, right? Right? So again, the headlines can be outrageous. So if any headline is appealing to you, I don't know. I guess it's fake news. Number 3, check the author. Do a quick search of the author. Are they credible? Are they real? Right? So if you're anonymous, say, hypothetically, if you're somebody you know who's anonymous, who tries to remain anonymous to try to get the word out, and it's probably the only way, if you remain anonymous, you probably could keep making channels, because they can't go off of facial recognition, right? See what I'm doing? See what I'm saying? Anyway, check the author. Do a quick search on the author. So if there's any stories out there about the author, say the person got arrested, say the person, no, we wouldn't even go that extreme. Just say that the author out there went to a school you didn't like. Say that the author out there dresses in clothes you don't like. Well, then it's also fake news, whatever he says. Okay, so that's what they're telling us here. Next up, supporting sources. Click on the links, determine if the info given actually supports the story. So, of course, when we're talking about support, you have to have sources from people that are trusted. Of course, they have to be members of organizations that are trusted and promoted, places like the World Economic Forum. Nobody can have their own opinion without a source. So the source has to be what they deem real news, real information, real science. And as long as that's in there, then it's a good source. If it's not, and it's just your opinion, it's fake news. Next up, check the date. Reposting old news stories doesn't mean they're relevant to current events. So apparently if you upload something that's old and it's not current, it's also fake news. So anything that might have happened in the past with wars or anything, fake news. Specifically, a lot of the fake news that came out of that Second World War. You know what I mean? There was a lot of fake news that came out of that one. So I do happen to agree. Maybe, we could just use that philosophy. Check the date. It's an old story, so it's fake, right? I mean, whatever they mean by that. Next up, is it a joke? Is it a joke? If it is too outlandish, it might be satire. Research the site and author to be sure. Right. That's what I'm satire, right? I mean, I've tried that route. It hasn't worked. But anyway, I'm brand new to all this. So if it's too outlandish, apparently, what they're saying is that if it blows their mind, if what that person is saying sounds like something they've never heard before, and their brain is just going, whoa, wait a minute, what? Like something like, I don't know, they eat babies, these people, right? Oh, then it has to be a joke, duh, and have to label it as misinformation because they can't wrap their heads around it because it doesn't show up on the news every day and we aren't taught it in school, so it's got to be outlandish, right? Don't check into who runs the schools, why they institutionalize you, et cetera, et cetera. 2 more, ready? Check your biases. Consider if your own beliefs could affect your judgment. Oh, right. So anyway, if you don't go by everything fed you from the mainstream media, it's fake news. And if you don't believe that there's 75 genders, it's obviously fake news. Now, I'm somebody who changes genders daily, so I agree, right? Okay, next up, ask the experts. Ask a librarian or consultant or consult a fact-checking site. So apparently an expert is a librarian. Most librarians, I mean, are obviously libs, right? You can see it with their lib glasses, but ask the librarian because the librarian knows, right? Nobody knows how the librarian's even paying for bills as a librarian, but the librarian knows. So long story short, all these things that they just mentioned, ask a librarian. I'm pretty sure there's a protocol in place for librarians, like they have to identify as whatever. So that's probably what the protocol is. And they know all the answers. They know everything. And if you disagree with them, it's hate speech or it's hurtful or hurting, you know. So anyway, they say consult, or you can consult a fact-checking site like Snoop's, right? Because that's really credible. You know, I mean, is this for real? Apparently this is for real. You know, and I've mentioned, I mean, excuse me. Other YouTubers have mentioned in the past that that there are schools now that are teaching how to spot fake news, and they're teaching young kids. It kind of reminds me of like old communist propaganda. But anyway, I won't get into more detail. So how to spot fake news, folks. I'm here as a new YouTuber. I'm going to try to help with stuff like that. I'm going to try to help you see how to spot fake news, how to find fake news, and how to report it. That's most important too, right? If we disagree with somebody, we should definitely have a button. Maybe we can have it like programmed under our skin that we can press that'll automatically, right, go off and have that person removed, not just from the internet, from the world, right? Let's just put them in jail. Yeah. So I don't want to say anything extreme for the algorithm, but we also need to have a system in place on how to report fake news, kind of like in 1984, right? We need to have something in place. So if we see fake news, we can not only get these people taken off the internet, but we can also have severe consequences, worse than like a life sentence in jail, you know? Because of course, remember, the worst thing in the world is if somebody disagrees with me, you, right? Nobody sees where this is going. Yeah. How to spot fake news, folks. Thanks for checking out my channel. A lot of cool stuff like this coming in the future. Thanks again, everybody. Bye-bye.